Let's go across now to the management of Mastek. Fareed Khazani, Group CFO and Finance Director of Mastek, joins us on the line from Mumbai. Good morning to you, Fareed. What's the sense on the revenue potential? I mean, what's the kind of outlook that you're looking at and how much you propose to add in lieu of the forthcoming projects for the company?
Morning to all of you. And, in terms of the revenue, we expect a steady growth over the next few quarters. And coincidentally, we signed a very important strategic framework agreement with the Financial Services Authority in the UK. And that's an agreement for a tie-up for the next 4 years, where Mastek is likely to do some application development programs for the FSA. There's no specific revenue commitment straight away, but as and when the projects come into the various vendors that are aligned and registered with the FSA, Mastek will have a chance to do some work with them in the next 4 years.
Is there some sort of kind of revenue inflow commitment that's been made at all? And, how long is this project's duration?
Well, this strategic framework agreement is for the next 4 years, and FSA clearly believes that they have volume of work in the next 4 years, which is why they have tied up Mastek as another vendor amongst the other vendors that are already tied up with them. And Mastek was selected after a very stringent due diligence process. And although there's no revenue commitment, but we do believe that we stand a chance being a very important player in the UK doing a lot of application development programs.
I'm still a bit confused about how what would you derive from this contract? It's a multi-year contract. There is no revenue commitment, but there would be some sort of a structure in which you would get paid. Could you perhaps share with us that layout?
It's basically an empanelment. So I need to make it very clear to you. It's an empanelment as a vendor, and FSA will have the choice to kind of give certain IT application programs to Mastek, depending upon what kind of probable rates that we bid at the time when the projects come up for bidding within the registered vendors. So as of now, there is no specific revenue commitment, but having understood that there's a lot of programs that are in the fray with the FSA in the next 4 years, Mastek will get some share of those programs in the next 4 years.
Fareed, but good morning, Neeraj here. You do not have an internal, not a target maybe, but an assessment of what the annual run rate would be on such a contract?
No, there is pretty much a huge spend that FSA does every year, okay, and that is likely to vary and grow in the next 4 years. We've not specifically put out a target, but we do believe that we can do pretty much a good level of business with them in the next 4 years. But there's no specific commitment, as I'm clearly stating there's no specific commitment.
I understand, Fareed. I'm not asking for a commitment. I'm just asking if there is an internal assessment of what this number could be. Just a fair assessment.
I can't disclose the internal assessment number.
Okay.
But what about the total outlay, like you pointed out, of the FSA for the year? I mean, you were talking about some annual outlay that they put aside, of which vendors such as yourself, if you potentially get the business, would get a share of. So could you perhaps share with us the details of what that outlay is?
It's a few £100 million that is an outlay for the total IT programs that FSA does. So it's a large IT spend that they do every year. And Mastek is one of the empaneled vendors, so hopefully we should get some business from them.
Okay, how are the other clients doing in the UK? NHS, which was under pressure the last few quarters. Also, maybe a word on Capita, which had paused work in March.
Yeah, Capita, as we mentioned last time, we had a reduction in the insurance program with Capita, so that's already impacted from April starting this quarter. The rest of the program that we do with Capita, which is on the government side, is pretty much steady. And in the last 2 months or 3 months, we've been seeing a pretty good traction on the pipeline on the government and the public sector. And hopefully we should see some kind of business wins in the next few quarters, especially in the government side.
Speaking about the governments, Fareed, almost every company is bagging some bit or the other of the UID project. It's a large sum, important, if at all, not just from the revenue run rate, then from the fact that companies are able to bid for it. Are you bidding for a few of these contracts?
Well, again, we've been empaneled, in terms of the UID thing, we would, wish to do some work on them, but it's purely going to be on the application development side. To that extent, it will be a small component if we get an opportunity to do some program for them.
Okay, lastly, Fareed, our interactions with a few managements indicate that they expect the revenue run rate on a quarter-on-quarter basis to be, well, anywhere between flat to a marginal positive uptick. What would your sense be for FY12 as a year, QOQ? Would there be a positive uptick in revenues and profits?
Well, we don't give any guidance
Sure.
in terms of the for the quarter, because we stopped giving guidance. But yes, as I mentioned, that business is steady, so to that extent we would expect close to a kind of a flat quarter.